We just finished another spectacular war, Brazilian clan called Renegados, and absolutely crushed them. 58-26 final score. Really a pretty balanced matchup. We had 3 Town Hall 9s, they had 5. The lowest end there was really a Town Hall 8 plus, but at any rate, they did have more Town Hall 9s than we did, and despite that fact, we really took the wind out of their sails very early by coming up to a big lead and took it to them. We've got a dragon event coming up, so I want to talk a little bit today about attacking with dragons. We're going to look at a couple of attacks from that last war, and again, these are all 3-star attacks, but what we're going to do is we're going to look at what they could have done a little bit better. If that base was a little tougher, maybe it wouldn't have been a 3-star. So what could they have done a little bit better? We're going to look at Tarun's attack here on number 11, and he does a fantastic job, first off, of funneling. Now, first, before we look here, let's talk about scouting the base. So you can see the sweeper only really covers one of the air defenses. There's 3 level 5 air defenses. The sweeper only really covers one of them, and so normally that's the one that if you're going to eliminate one with a Zap Quake or a Town Hall 7 with triple lightning, then that's the one you want to look at first. And then you decide, is there other reasons not to do that one? But that's the natural attack. But always know that doing that, that's the way that the enemy wants you to attack his base, and a lot of times he's going to have it stacked so that there's difficulty. For instance, there's all of these storages here, but he hasn't done a very good job because you could see that the ring of the protection from this air defense is completely out of range, but this air defense, even though this storage is inside the range, it doesn't really cover it because dragons have a 3-tile range, so the dragons are going to be outside the range of the air defense while they're destroying that storage. So when you're placing your storages, you got to keep them well inside that ring so that the air defense is still able to hit it. So he's going to go ahead and take this southern air defense here, and then he's going to funnel his dragons onto these 2 northern air defenses. And we can see that the protection ring goes outside of the walls. It doesn't cover the trash ring exactly, but so once he pierces through the trash ring, then there's a possibility that his dragons could start taking damage. And so that's what you want to look at. He has 1 rage spell, and that rage spell does not need to touch the air defenses because, again, the dragons have a 3-tile range. So when you're looking at where to place it, you can see that placing it in between these 4 buildings here, kind of somewhere centering it around this wall segment here, is going to give him a radius that would cover all of this. The dragons would be in the rage while they were taking down this storage, while they're taking down these defenses, and they would still be in it if it was centered right around here. They would still be in it while the dragons were taking down these air defenses. So think before you start your raid, how are you going to plan where to place your spells? So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple things here that he does. First thing he's going to do is he's going to Zap Quake down here. Now he drops 2 lightning. Now he can place that quake anywhere that he wants, and as long as he places that quake so that the radius of the quake includes the air defense, then the air defense is going to go down. Now the mistake that he makes here, what he could have done is place this air defense, place this quake spell between the air defense and the clan castle and town hall, because those are very high hit point buildings, and we would want the quake spell to do damage to them. Down here he's got this elixir storage. We know that the quake spell does not harm elixir storages, any kind of storage buildings at all, so he's not getting any effect out of that. Whereas if he had moved it towards the town hall and the clan castle, he would have got significant damage on those 2 buildings, softened them up for the dragons, and also did what he needed to do against the air defense. So one of the first things he could have done is place that quake spell more towards the town hall and the clan castle. But that said, he does get the air defense down. That's the primary objective there. And now he's going to start funneling. He drops dragons from the outside of the line of trash ring, and as the dragons start moving in, he adds more dragons. Now he's got all of the trash ring taken care of, and we remember that now those dragons are coming inside of this trash ring. So now is actually the perfect time to drop that rage spell. And you're going to see that if he had dropped the rage spell, again, somewhere around centered on this wall, that he would have got total coverage, and he would have been able to take down all of these buildings much, much faster. Still too late, too late, too late. Okay, finally gets the rage spell down, and the dragons take one breath and take out the air defense. The great thing that he does here is he brings 4 CC loons, and he also brings 4 balloons of his own. That, in the new meta of the game, is the winning combination. I'd like to see somebody even try to bring 8 of their own balloons, because really the dragons, the most that they do is they're tanking those air defenses. Once the air defenses are down, we're going to see that most of the damage done on the base can be done by the balloons. So it may even be profitable to bring more than 4 of your own balloons. Whereas the dragons have to stop, breathe a couple times. A pack of balloons, as soon as they arrive at that air defense, they do 1 drop and it's down. So we're going to look at a couple more raids. Really fine job, excellent job of funneling onto that target there. A couple things that could have been tweaked a little bit better. We're going to come down here and take a look at Gaudy's attack down here on number 14. And Gaudy has 3 air defenses in line. Now, he's going to choose to drop 3 lightning spells on one of these air defenses and take it out, leaving him 2 air defenses. The alternative is to bring either 2 rages and a heal, or potentially 3 rage spells. And in this particular case, when you're going to have your line of dragons coming in together and you're going to have balloons, it might have been a much better idea to bring rages than to waste the lightning, waste all 3 of your spells on the lightning. And we're going to see that it's successful, but watch as the dragons and the balloons approach. There's a big moat between this archer tower and the next air defense, so there's a high probability, the way this base is designed, is they want your dragons to go left and right around the outside and totally avoid going into those air defenses. Now the CC is off-centered, and that's one thing to keep in mind as a design element that will help draw those dragons to the outside. You see that now he's got 4 dragons on the outside. He's only got a couple dragons here in the center tanking these air defenses. And boy, wouldn't he love to have a rage spell right now. Just think about 2 rage spells there pushing those balloons and dragons into the core of that base. He lost all of his. He got very lucky that 2 of those dragons turned and went into the core to tank these air defenses and allow those balloons to get in there. Otherwise, this raid may have been a fail. The other thing we see over here on the right, this dragon just took a black bomb. The more balloons you have running around, the better chance it is that they will soak up those seeking air mines. And again, we see the dragons are still out there tanking, and they do an enormous amount of damage. But at this point, it's the balloons really that are wrecking this base. He gets a nice split. The dragon's been working on that town hall for a while, but the balloons come over, 2 quick drops, it's down, go on over. That single balloon by itself is go ahead and take that out. They're going to drop on the king and kill him. Those balloons are doing an enormous amount of damage. They're really doing most of the damage to this base. So consider using 3 rages or 2 rages and a heal in a case like this where you don't really get anything out of that 3 lightnings, because you still had to get the same amount of penetration. Those 3 air defenses were online like that. A different technique probably could have worked a little bit better. We're going to come all the way down here to 20, and we're going to look at Bailey's attack here. And the reason we're going to look at Bailey's attack here is, again, for the same reason. Now this base, it's kind of a bully attack. It only has the 2 air defenses, but had she used 3 lightnings, it would have been the same thing. But we're going to look at rage spell placement in this attack. So here's our air defense ring. Places the rage centered on this wizard tower, but note that the cannon is out of the range of the wizard tower. So Bailey drops her balloons, and what are the balloons going to track to first? They're going to go to this cannon, and then they're going to go to the air defense But if the rage spell had been placed just a little bit higher, and again, that's not a decision you're going to have the time to make on the fly. You've got to make that kind of plan and decision. Bailey knew that she was going to drop these side door loons in here to get to the air defense. So what she should have also planned is to drop that rage spell just a little bit higher so that the balloons pick up the rage spell on the way into and out of the cannon. They're not going to get to the rage spell until they get to that air defense. And we know that those 4 balloons, if they get to drop together on that air defense, they're going to crush it anyways. They don't need the extra power of the rage in that case. They do finally pick it up, they take it out, and they're still going to do an enormous amount of damage. Again, it's the loons here that are doing the majority of the damage to this base. The balloons all gang up, get that last air defense out, taking out the last of the defenses, and then going and taking out these high hit point buildings. But again, had she placed that initial rage spell just a little bit higher, you want to speed those balloons into and out of those initial targets. It's not really so much, they don't need the damage effect of the rage, but what they do need is the speed effect of the range. So as we come into this dragon event, we're going to try out a lot of different things with dragons. We're going to focus on funneling. We remember from Tarun's attack how he started by placing dragons on the outside of the ring and then bringing them in towards the center of his attack line, so that once they went into the core of the base, he had all of his dragons bunched up in one tight group. And then when he hits them with the rage, they're all under rage. They're not spread out. They're not everywhere. We want those dragons to go into the core in a large group like that. We want the balloons coming in right behind the dragons tanking. And once they get through the air defenses, the balloons then are going to transition to be doing the majority of the damage to the defenses for the rest of the attack. And the dragons really just become cleanup troops at that point. They're the ones taking out the collectors, the barracks, the other high hit point buildings. But the balloons are doing the vast majority of the attacking damage. So we're going to try some things out. I'd like to see some attacks that try even more than 8 balloons, 4 CC balloons plus 4 of your own. And I would like to see really people focusing on where they're placing those spells and what's the best choice of spell selection, and planning those spells out before the attack even begins. Fantastic war. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Let's keep it up and let's really get some mileage out of this upcoming event and see what we can learn from it. Not only just learn individually, but teaching each other what we have learned. That's the strength of this clan. Great job, guys. Keep it up.